Hello again. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, and today we're going to be talking about virtual reality using your smartphone. So this is something that has become cool and interesting and new. So whenever we talk about virtual reality, normally people talk about the Oculus Rift. So the Oculus Rift is something that looks a lot like this, that you strap to your head, and using that you can play first-person shooters and all that kind of stuff. So Facebook, they started off as like a Kickstarter project, and Facebook just bought them for like $1 billion. And so everybody's like, Oculus Rift, everything is about Oculus Rift. If you want to do anything in virtual reality, Oculus Rift. Well, one of the things going on nowadays is that people have thought, hey, if we have these really powerful computers in our pockets, these smartphones, and they have really high resolution screens, can we turn the smartphone itself into some kind of virtual reality unit? And so what companies like this, I think it's Dorvis, have done is they've created, this is called a dive, and what you do is you strap in a smartphone into this, and then it allows you to use it as a VR unit. So as you move your head, it actually scrolls around, and beyond that, what you can do is you can have a nice little controller. So I can play a video game, right, and then move my head around. So this controls how I walk and how I shoot, and then I can look and do all of that kind of stuff. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, right? And so this is cool in a lot of ways, just from a technological standpoint, but there are some drawbacks to it. The biggest drawback that I have found is it makes me want to vomit horribly. It can be a little bad. So let's go over to my little demonstration table so I can kind of show you what's going on with this, because it really is a cool thing, especially to play with, and it's an inexpensive way for you to be able to play around with virtual reality. So there are different companies making goggles like this. Like I say, this is a dive. The guys over at it's called Durovis actually gave me one of these when I was at CES, but this is a model, as a lot of people were talking about. Google actually gave away cardboard goggles to do the same thing. Samsung or Sony, one of those major companies, is trying to do the same thing. They're building the same thing. And so the whole idea is basically you have some kind of frame unit. You shove in your smartphone, and then you're able to have a VR thing. So all this is basically I pull this open. You see my smartphone there. I pull my smartphone out, and you can see the lenses and all of that kind of stuff. So if we look at this, basically, you strap in the smartphone, and then you have lenses here that you have to line up in order to get into focus. This can be one of the pains in the butts with using these kind of goggles, because basically you have to line up these lenses with your eyes, and then focus them by moving them backwards and forwards. And once you do, though, you actually get a pretty good virtual reality experience. So I was playing around with some of the apps for Dive, and it actually really is pretty good. Again, you look up, you look side to side, and it seems like pretty decent virtual reality. Now, to show you guys understand how this works, basically what happens, let's say I'll click, so this is the virtual reality game. So I click on that. And what happens, right, is they divide the screen in half, and they're basically showing you approximately the same image on both sides. And so that corresponds to the lenses in the face mask thing. And that's what gives you the 3D perspective. Then, as you can see for virtual reality, as you move your head, it automatically tracks that and moves with you. So again, I mean, you guys are just watching this through a camera, but I swear to you, it looks a hell of a lot cooler in real life. And that's really all there is to it. So you're looking into this, just how the optics work. That makes it look 3D. Then as you're moving around, it uses all of the little sensors in your cell phone to make it work right. So I was using this on a Galaxy S4, and I do have to say, it worked really well. So again, they talk about the resolution, the screen resolution of most of these phones nowadays, and I don't understand, for the most part, why the screen resolutions need to be as good as they do, right? They're making the screens so, they're putting so many pixels onto these screens nowadays, and when I'm looking at a movie from this far away, it doesn't really matter to me. But one of the interesting things, right, is as soon as you put you know, basically you're putting the smartphone this close to your eye, it's really interesting to notice that it still looks good, right? So any of these higher quality phones, like this is a Galaxy S4, if you're going to be buying an iPhone 6, they have so much resolution now, you can actually put this straight in front of your eyes, and it looks pretty good. Now the cool thing with this whole smartphone unit is that everything is built into here. So if you're going to go out and you're going to buy an Oculus Rift, whenever that's actually starts getting sold, you know, the Oculus Rift then plugs into your PlayStation or whatever else so that you can use it. The cool part with this is all completely self-contained. So when you're playing this first-person shooter, all you do is you install the app onto this, just like you would install any other app. You connect your little joystick thing using Bluetooth, and then that's all you need. You don't need a console. You don't need anything else. So this is really interesting. It's kind of interesting because, you know, this little, I don't know, this little $80 widget here, you would not think that this would actually be a competitor to Oculus Rift. But when you think about how powerful these phones are becoming, and you think that people already own phones anyway, this little doohickey might actually turn out to be real competition for the Oculus, I would say. Overall, it's pretty cool. One of the things that I will warn you about is I was testing this out, and I was playing this little game for about half an hour one of the days, and there is something that they talk about called lag. So there's actually a visual lag, and this is something you have to be careful about with virtual reality, all these virtual reality headsets, even the Oculus Rift, right? Is when you are looking around using the virtual reality, it appears to, like, your conscious mind that the screen is moving with you. So you look up and the screen changes up, and when you look down, the screen changes down, and left and right. And as far as you can perceive, it's moving with you. The issue is it's not actually moving with you. There's like a 0.001 millisecond lag. So when you start looking right, there's just a minute lag between when you start looking right and when the screen actually starts changing to the right, you know, moving to the right with you. And what happens is after you start playing around with the virtual reality for a while, it ends up making you sick. So like with me, after playing with this for about half an hour one day, I had the worst like motion sickness. I am not joking. I had this strapped to my head and I was playing around. I was like, this is cool. And then I took it off and I spent the next hour wanting to vomit. Truly. So that's just one of those things to keep in mind if you're going to be playing with this. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. So if you're interested in this, again, this particular one, I just got this one from this guy, these folks over at Dorvis. But if you're interested in this, you can go over to Durovis.com, so Durovis.com. and take a look. They have all the stuff. If you want to actually buy one, you can click here and you can order now. If we come to the United States, it's 57 euros. So with the current exchange rate, that's about $80. So it is very, very interesting thing. What I would argue with these things right now is that they're good for experiments. So if you are part of a computer club, or if you are a university professor, you're educating people, this is a very good education tool. So if people are saying, well, I don't understand about this virtual reality thing, I wish I could get some experience with it, this is a very inexpensive way to get experience, because you buy this thing for 80 bucks, you use a smartphone, you install the app, and away you go. As far as actually playing games and such, I would wait a while, because it really want to make me vomit really, 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 really bad. So there you go. This is virtual reality with your smartphone. Again, it is a really pretty cool thing to play with, as long as you don't play with it too long and want to vomit. So there you go. Like I say, you just move. Oops. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, really kind of cool stuff. Spiceworks.com. These guys have the free network management software, the free mobile device management software, the free community with millions of users. So if you're an IT professional and you need support, Spiceworks is a great place to go. All of their stuff is basically free and just an absolutely great thing. Again, if you have any questions that I don't answer in the show that are technical in nature, you know, we're talking about Active Directory synchronization between sites in remote areas. If you click on the link below this video, video that will take you to the Spiceworks community. They have millions of users there that will be able to help you out. So take a look at spiceworks.com. Total Seminars, totalsim.com. If you're looking for your A+, your Net+, your Security Plus certification, they have video training, practice test, exam vouchers, and more. If you are on the CompTIA track and you are looking for study prep material, study guides, that type of thing, take a look at Total Seminars, totalsim.com, TOTALSEM.com. Veeam.com, VEEAM.com. If you just virtualized 100 servers and now you're trying to figure out how to back them up, they have solutions for ESXi, they have solutions for Hyper-V, and as you guys like, they have free stuff. So if you are dealing with a virtualized environment and you're trying to figure out a backup solution, take a look at Veeam.com. NerdsWeCanFixThat.com. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, but you don't want to have to worry about coming up with a logo and copyright and trademark and all of those kinds of things, you may think about buying into a computer services franchise system. NerdsWeCanFixThat is a computer services franchise system. They have 62 franchises throughout the United States. They can franchise in every state other than Hawaii. They also franchise internationally. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, you should contact them, fill out the information below, or give them a call. Again, as I will say, franchise systems are great for a lot of people, not so good for others. Always make sure to do your due diligence, but if you're thinking about starting a computer services company anyway, you might as well contact Nerds We Can Fix That to see what they have to say. Altaro.com, ALTARO.com, if you're dealing with virtualization in a Hyper-V environment. So we're talking about Windows Server 2008 R2, 2012, and 2012 R2. Take a look at Altaro.com. They have a number of Hyper-V backup solutions. They have the free version, which will back up to 2 VMs for free forever. They also have the unlimited version, starting at only $400 per host. I think this is a very good value. So if you are dealing with Hyper-V virtualization and you need a backup solution, take a look at Altaro.com. AddAccess.com. If you're dealing with Active Directory on a large scale, so you have hundreds of users to add, hundreds of users to disable, so on and so forth, you may want to take a look at AddAccess.com. This is Active Directory management and automation software. So this tries to automate and simplify the Active Directory workflow. So if you are in a large scale Active Directory infrastructure, take a look at AddAccess.com. Plixer.com. Plixer deals with NetFlow analytics software. So NetFlow is a component of Cisco equipment that shows you what's going on at the network layer, what devices are talking to what other devices, what kind of network jitter, all of that kind of stuff. So Plixer has a free piece of software called Scrutinizer. Scrutinizer is a free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. So if you want to play around with NetFlow, if you want to see what's going on with the network layer and you have Cisco equipment, take a look at Plixer.com. Click on the link below this video. It'll bring you to this page where you can download Scrutinizer, the free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. SchoolyMitchell.com. If you're trying to find better internet or telephone service, or if you're trying to find less expensive internet or telephone service, give Schooly Mitchell a call. Basically what these guys are telecom consultants. You call them, you say what you need for yourself or your client, and they figure out the best option. They'll examine your existing services and review your bills to make sure there are no errors. Then they'll keep an eye on your services moving forward so that everything remains optimized. Because Schooly Mitchell is objective and independent, they have no ties to vendors. You know they are always your best interests in mind. The best part is there is no fee for their services. The only cost is a portion of the shared savings over a set period of time. If they don't find savings, there is no cost to you. Schooly Mitchell. So for the hands-on review today, Ravpower sent me yet another external battery pack. We're going to be reviewing it, and the reason why this one is cool is because this one is big, right? One of the things that people don't think about when they go out and buy their external battery packs is that they have sizes, not just the physical size, but how much energy that they store. Do they store 500 milliamp hours? Do they store 4,000 milliamp hours? Or do they store 15,000 milliamp hours, right? So whenever you're going to be recharging your phone or your tablet device, it's very important to understand, if you're going to be using an external battery pack, how much power it takes to recharge a phone or a tablet. And so with most phones, you're looking somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 milliamp hours, and for most tablets, you're looking around 4,000 milliamp hours, right? So one of the problems is people go out and they buy these external battery packs, and they figure all external battery packs are the same. It's like, okay, well, this is approximately the same size as the other thing, physically. This one is, $20 more than that one, so I'll buy this other one. And the problem is they go out, and that's an 1,000 milliamp hour battery versus a 15,000 milliamp hour battery. And so the problem is you use that one external battery to try to charge your phone, and it only half charges your phone, and then it dies, right? So I've done a lot of reviews, and we even had I had these little tiny batteries I reviewed for you guys, and I swear to you, they had 300 milliamp hours, and literally it was simply enough power so that you could be able to take 3 or 4 phone calls, and that was it, right? So what's cool with this is 15,000 milliamp hours. So if you're dealing with a normal cell phone, it means this single battery charged once should be able to charge your cell phone about 14 times, and if you have a tablet device, 15,000 should be able to charge your tablet about 3.5 times. So what's nice with this is this has enough energy in it that you can literally, if you're going on a business trip, you can charge it before you leave, throw it in your bag, and then this should provide power for the entire trip. Again, that's one problem that I run into in the real world, you know, when I go to Cisco Live or any of these events, is I bring an external battery pack with me so I can recharge my mobile devices. I use them to recharge my mobile device, and then I forget to recharge the external battery pack, and then the next day my mobile devices die and my external battery pack is dead, and I'm kind of screwed. So let's go over to the little desk right now and just kind of show you what's going on. I mean, there's really not a lot to say. What I like about this, though, is the size. So this is 15,000 milliamp hours, and if you look at it, it's about the same size as my Galaxy S4. So with some of these battery packs, once you get into that much energy, they get pretty big. But as you can see here, it's about the same size, you know, as my Galaxy S4, and it's about 2 or 3 times thicker. So this isn't something massive. Like, I've seen some of these, the more powerful external battery packs, and they are freaking bricks. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're as big as this box. And so what's nice with this is it's a pretty decent little size. And if you press the little button here, it will show you how much charge it has. So currently it has 3/4 of a charge. And one of the things that Ravpower likes to do is they like to put a little LED light. I don't know, they put that in all their devices. Yeah, hey, whatever. Hey, it works for them. The other thing that I like with this one is, since it does have the 15,000 milliamp hours, is that you can then charge 2 devices at once. So you can plug in your phone and your tablet and recharge them all at the same time. Which, again, so if your phone has, let's say, 2,000 milliamp hours, and your iPad has 4,000 milliamp hours, that's 6,000 milliamp hours total. So that means this could be able to charge both of your mobile devices at least twice during a trip, which, you know, again, like I say, is a good thing. So I've reviewed a lot of Ravpower stuff over time now. They're one of the people that like to send me good stuff. And as with all of their equipment, it is built well. Yes, it is plastic, but I mean, it's very solid, everything's connected well, it looks good, all the connectors are there, so on and so forth. So it's a good little good, I mean, what are you gonna say? It's a big ass battery pack. Now, if you're interested in taking a look at this for yourself, all you have to do is you go over to ravpower.com, ravpower.com, and go through and find the external battery, so on and so forth. And this particular one is the RP-PB19 Deluxe, blah, 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 and it comes in at $60, which I think is a good thing. Again, I've had a lot of, you may not know Ravpower, but Ravpower, oh my golly, this is like the 6th battery pack they've sent me. So they've actually sent me a lot of battery packs, and they've all been good quality. So having seen their previous quality and having seen this one, I would say $60 is a really good price. I bought, you know, a more quote-unquote name brand external battery pack last year, and it was like $100 for 4,000 milliamp hours. So this is, you know, $40 less, and you get like 3 times, 4 times the amount of power in it. So there you go, Ravpower, 15,000 milliamp hour battery, very cool thing. And again, this is what I would say you should be looking for if you're going to be going out and buying an external battery pack, is make sure you know what it's rated for, how much energy it has, and then nowadays, you know, 15,000 milliamp hours is, I would argue, if you're going to buy an external battery pack anyway, that's about the size you should look for. This question comes from TVJ. I would like to purchase video IP phones. Please suggest to me which is best, Polycom, Grandstream, Cisco, Yealink. If I use an open source VoIP server, will it serve my purpose for a long duration? So basically, this guy is looking for a video voice over IP phone, so you can, video talk using your own infrastructure. So a lot of you guys are used to using something like Skype or Google video chat or whatever, where you're able to do video conferencing, but that goes through their system. What a lot of you guys don't realize is you can have your own system, your own voice over IP server that will provide the same functionality. So if you want to, basically, if you want to own your own voice over IP infrastructure and be able to do video calling, you can do that. In order to do that, basically go out and you find a voice over IP server that you want to use, something like Asterisk or Digium or something like that, and you can use it. So the question is here is, what physical phone should this person buy if you're going to be doing a video voice over IP calling? And what I would argue in 2014 we're in, that you should not buy physical devices for this. So Cisco sells very nice video IP phones. Polycom, I love Polycom is a really high quality company. They sell physical voice over IP phones. But the question you really have to think about is, everybody nowadays has smartphones and they have laptops and they have desktops and they have tablets. So why would you buy a physical phone, what is called a hard phone, when you can simply purchase a piece of software that will turn your smartphone, your tablet, or your computer into a voice over IP client? So basically it will turn that into your telephone, so with video and all of that kind of stuff. All you have to do is you basically go out and what you want to find is a soft phone client. So a soft phone client is a piece of software you install onto your device, whatever it is, and that turns that device basically into a voice over IP phone. Now what I like and what I used to use personally is, if we go over, there's a company called Counterpath. So if you go to counterpath.com, these guys have a ton of software. They have been doing this for a long time, and they have been putting out really high quality soft phones for a long time. So basically I would come over here to counterpath.com, take a look at what they have and figure out what you need. Back in the day, they used to have free versions. I'm not sure about that now. So I think they have the X Lite 4.7. But basically, they have lots of different versions, lots of different functionality, price points, all of that. What I'll tell you is, no matter how expensive that software is, that soft phone is from Counterpath, it's going to be less expensive than going out and buying a hard phone, and it will also be better quality because it's just going to be better quality. So that is what I would say. If you're looking for voice over IP clients in 2014, I would argue do not buy hard phones. Buy soft phones, basically software. You can install that onto people's smartphones. You can install that onto tablets. You can install that on desktop computers, so on and so forth. And it just, like I said, I mean, everybody already has this in their pocket, so why not just use what they already have? Why go out and buy all that stuff? The only thing that you need to look for is, if you're going to be dealing with open source, what you have to look at is the protocol. So open source voice over IP systems, the default, the standard is something called SIP. SIP. So whenever you're going to be going out and you're going to be buying voice over IP phones, or if you're going to be buying a soft phone, you want it to be SIP compliant. It needs to be able to use the SIP protocol. Now some of the other, so if you use open source, and most vendors now use SIP, but some use proprietary protocols. So Avaya back in the day for their Office solution, they used to use proprietary protocols. Some of these vendors use proprietary protocols, so just keep that in mind. Whenever you're dealing with voice over IP now in 2014, make sure everything is SIP compliant. Make sure the voice over IP server uses SIP. Make sure that the soft phones and the hard phones use SIP, and you should be good to go. Just go over, take a look at counterpath.com, and I think you will be happy you did. So this question comes from Samir. My question is, how can I get a sponsorship or equivalent opportunity in a company that offers entry-level positions or training for beginners? I have no certificate in networking field. You can say I am self-taught and have strong basic knowledge about networking and cabling. What should I do to get into a professional career? So that is always a question. So you got all these newbies out there, and you don't have a college degree, and you don't have a certificate, and you have self-learning. I always love it when noobs say that. I'm self-taught with no experience. Let me tell you something. When you have 10 years experience and then you self-teach yourself a new technology, that is valuable. When you have 0 real-world experience and you self-teach yourself anything, nobody really cares. So really what I would argue, and this is the argument that I've been giving for a long time now, is I think you should go and get a college degree. Now, believe me when I say I am not the biggest proponent of the college education system. It's kind of one of those things, it's the best thing we have. May not be great, it may not be a wonderful thing, but it is the best thing that we have. So if you're out there and you want to get into the tech field, what I would really say is go to college. Again, as I argue, go for the associate's degree, the 2-year degree, since this guy's in North Carolina. Make sure it is transferable to a 4-year college and then go from there. Because here's the thing, right? What you guys don't realize is in order to get into this field, it takes a long time. You know, we are not back in the .com era. Even in the .com era, it was a pain in the ass. Let me tell you a little bit about my history when I got into computers back in the late 90s. And what it was is I went through the MCSE program. I had my college degree. I had my military experience, but that was in electronics. And believe me, back then, when I went to go interview for companies, basically they said, do you have at least 6 months experience? Now this was back in the .com era, right? So all they asked for was 6 months experience. Everybody said, as long as you have 6 months experience, you're golden. Well, here's the problem. If you don't even have 6 months experience, nobody cares. Even in the .com era, I'm telling you, even in the .com era, if you didn't have 6 months real-world experience, nobody gave a damn about you. And so it was a slog. In order to get my first tech job, it was just a slog. It was interview after interview after interview. It was tons of resumes going out, so on and so forth. And it's just one of those time-consuming things, right? You know, if you get in front of somebody that actually wants to hire you, they'll hire you, but it's that whole idea of getting in front of that person. Even the company that I ended up getting hired for, it was like a 4-month process. I mean, I went in, I interviewed with the guy liked me, but frankly, he wanted somebody, again, with experience. So then they interviewed a ton more people, but none of those people panned out, so then I got dragged back in, and then they hemmed and hawed. It was a nightmare, right? So it took 3 or 4 months, and that was for the company that actually ended up hiring me. So when you guys want to go out there and you want to get jobs, that's the thing, is you just got to realize it's a slog. It's not just who you know, but it's who knows you, right? So what I would argue is you go out, get your college degree, so you're plodding along your path. As you're doing the college degree, talk to people, get internships, find whatever opportunities you can find, and go through that path. I mean, that's really the best way to go, because again, like I say, trying to get into this, that's what nobody realizes about the tech field, is it is a time-consuming thing. Everybody has this idea of, I get my MCSE, or I get this, or I get that, and then I will be hired. But I'll tell you, again, even with the company that did originally hire me way back when, it was a 4-month process, and that was during the .com era. So if you're trying to go out there and you don't have a certification, you don't have a degree, again, remember, if you don't have anything, you're a noob, you're below worthless, you're just a pain in the ass, right? So you have to figure out a way to have something that you can actually show people. So I would say go for a 2-year degree. Again, North Carolina is not too bad for education. I actually did some college in North Carolina back when I was in the Army. That's not too bad, right? Not horribly expensive, so you should be able to go get an associate's degree for a reasonable amount of money, and then go from there. That is what I would suggest you do. Go to college, so you have some knowledge, meet people, have experiences, all that kind of stuff, and that'll do best for you. So the final thoughts for today are to be extraordinarily careful about telling your clients completion times. Basically, the client comes to you and they say, hey, it looks like work is going well. When do you think this will be done, right? Because one of the things you have to understand is when clients come up to you and they're asking you when whatever will be done, is they're asking that because they don't know. They don't have any expectation in their mind on when it's going to be done. And so they're asking, they're like, will it be done Monday? Will it be done Tuesday? Will it be done 5 weeks from now? And when they ask that question, you have a whole bunch of flexibility that you no longer have once you answer that. So right now, it is Friday afternoon, and as many of you guys know, I'm having a lot of construction done on my house, and that's why this has come up, right? I have a garage being built, and I have a deck, and way too much stuff being done. And this is a really interesting thing, because even I, as a business person right now, I'm slightly disappointed. And the reason is because I'm having this big deck built. And so earlier in the week, I went to the guys doing the deck, and they're doing all of their work. And I was like, so what is the timeline here? What are we looking at? And so the guy looked at me on Tuesday and said, oh, it is going well. It is going quickly. We're not going to be done this week, but the deck itself will be usable. So it's like a deck that's about 1 story up. So he said, you know, all the decking will be down, all the railings will be up, the gates will be up, but the stairs won't be there to get down to ground level. So he said by the end, by Friday night, by Friday afternoon, you'll be able to come out here, you'll be able to enjoy the deck, your little corgis will be able to run around. Again, the stairs won't be finished, but the deck will be fine. And so up until that point, to be honest with you, to be completely honest with you, I figured the deck wouldn't be done for another 2 weeks, right? So when he said that, I was like, yeah, that's nice. You know, I'm going to go into this weekend. It's going to be nice. It's going to be sunny. I'm going to be on my deck drinking my coffee, drinking my beer with my corgis. That is great, right? And so I start visualizing all these amazing things that I want to do this weekend. Well, as the week goes by, unfortunately, you know, as construction goes, there was a bit of an accident, and oh my golly, the poor bastard fell through the deck. So whenever you're doing a deck, there's the deck boards that you walk on, and underneath that are joists. So the joists are like about 1 foot apart, and he was walking along those joists, and he slipped, and thankfully he didn't go up and get hit in the fork, but he did get hit on the thighs or whatever, and got a little injured, right? And so obviously, I mean, it's completely understandable. He slowed down after that. You know what I'm saying? When you fall through a deck, you're a little bit slower. Which is completely, you know, again, I understand that intellectually. But then, you know, we come to the end of Friday and I'm looking out at my deck and all of these things I had envisioned for this weekend are no longer going to be there. I'm kind of sad. You know, I am now looking at my deck going, oh, I thought I could do really, really cool things on the deck this weekend, but I guess I'm not. So now it's like I have that disappointment in me. And so that's one of the things I really want you guys thinking about whenever you're dealing with clients, is to realize that expectations management is probably one of the most important things you're ever going to deal with, is setting the expectations of your client. And so one thing that we all do, and I did it enough back when I was a consultant, is we want to make our clients feel happy. We want to be optimistic. We want to say, yes, this server is going to be up and running tonight, or yes, we're going to have your infrastructure built by the end of the week. But the reality is, sometimes, you know, you have the equivalent of falling through the deck. You know, sometimes motherboards fail, sometimes hard drives fail, sometimes the software that you've been using for like 5 years, they do an update to it and it no longer works how it's supposed to. And if you tell your client, yes, we're going to have all this up and running by the end of the day or whatever, you set the expectation. Once you have set that expectation, if you don't make that mark, it is a failure. Again, even like I say, even with this situation, I understand. I was a consultant. I was a business person. I did exactly the same type of, same type of sales spiel, and I am still saddened this weekend because I was given that expectation that the deck would be usable. So that is something to think about. Again, as I say time and time and time again, in business, expectations management is probably one of the most important things that you will ever deal with. So when your client asks you, when do you think the server will be installed? When do you think the infrastructure will be built? When do you think the cable will be run? When do you think whatever else? Make sure, if you can, if you can, don't effing answer the question, right? That's the best thing to do. Client comes up and says, hey, when do you think the server will be installed? And you look them square in the eye and you say, I am working my hardest and the fastest to install this server. Okay, and then they walk away, right? You answer the question without answering the question, right? So that's what you do, is you try to not answer, not try to give them a time frame, and then if they do need a time frame, then you just give them something ridiculous. Again, like I say with this deck, if I had said, hey, when do you think all this part will be done? And he had said Wednesday of next week, I would have gone, oh, okay, whatever, and then would have been fine. And then if he had finished it on Friday, I've been like, oh, you are so awesome. You finished this 5 days ahead of schedule. So that is something to think about. Focus on expectations management. I swear it's a huge thing in the business no matter what you're selling.